Okay, well, hi there. I'm Ron Juckett, and boy, is this not a happy recap. If you are just joining us, the Atlanta Braves took 2 out of 3 from the Washington Nationals during this homestand, during their first series in Washington for the year, on the strength of a 13-2 absolute shellacking of the Nationals this afternoon. Tanner Roark looked horrible. The bullpen looked horrible. Trey Turner looks awesome, but that's really about it. Let's get right to the totals. One of those games that really just kind of boggles your mind at how a team that can be 39-26 looks so terrible. Atlanta 13 runs on 16 hits and an error. Washington 2 runs on 7 hits and an error. Adam Lind and Stephen Drew both had 2 hits apiece today. Julio Teheran goes to 6-4 on the year, and Tanner Roark with a loss goes to 6-4 on the year. The only extra base hit was Brian Goodwin's 2-run shot in the second, which were the only 2 runs in the ballgame for Washington. And I don't know if you can see Sources the cat over here, but she's not happy that I woke her up. You ready for the pitching lines? All right. Emily, my cat, is not. She just leapt off the bed. Tanner Roark, 5 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, all earned. He walked 2, struck out 5, gave up a homer. Trevor Gott, an inning and 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned. He walked 2, he struck out 2. Blake Trinan, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, a run, it was earned. He walked 1, struck out 1. Joe Blanton did throw a good clean 2/3 of an inning for 2 strikeouts, and Jacob Turner with a clean inning and a strikeout. See, this is one of those things of why strike ratios are a bit overrated. Roark threw 102 pitches and 68 strikes, but he wasn't effective. Everything was flat and hittable. Trevor Gott, 52 pitches, 31 strikes. Threw too many strikes. Blake Trinan, 20 of the slowest pitches you will ever see for 11 strikes. Blanton, okay, let's go briefly with the good. Blanton, 9 pitches for 6 strikes, and Jacob Turner, 13 pitches for 8 strikes. Just an all-around poor effort. Poor effort. Julio Teheran, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He walked 1 and struck out 3. Gave up the homer to Goodwood. He threw 91 pitches and 63 strikes. All right. Already got comments here on the chat board. Chris Lacey says, the team looked defeated against the Braves. How soon till Trevor Gott gets sent back down to the minors? I think it's going to be a while, Chris. I don't think they really have any other options. Eric Fetty, who I was supposed to write about today and tomorrow, probably won't now, is going to need some time. I got at least a few outings in Syracuse just to get his feet wet before they can set him up. And again, I mean, if you called him up right now, if it doesn't work, then you've destroyed someone else's confidence. You do not want to get with Fetty the same thing that you would with Blake Trinan, who just looks like an absolute shell of a person out there. I mean, it's painful to watch Blake Trinan pitch right now. He pitches so slow. He pitches with the pace of a turtle and knows he's not going to throw strikes. But they don't really have much of a choice to keep him throwing him out there. I mean, that's why Jacob Turner's up there. Why wasn't Turner pitching in the 6th inning, for goodness sakes? He's your long man. Why wasn't he out there for 3 innings? Or at least try to get that. Yes, it was a 5-run game, but as one of our readers on Twitter said during the game, this offense can pull this off. Why are they pinch hitting Joe Ross in the 9th inning? I don't get it. You had hitters that were rested. Give them an at-bat. You never know. You never know until the game is over. I mean, the chances weren't very good, but just one of those. They gave up on this game in the 5th inning when Dusty burned Roark to pinch hit for himself instead of Rendon or Wieters or Taylor, who had the day off. then they gave this game away when it was 7-2. Judo Joker says the strategy of giving Tehran a bunch of downtime to disrupt his rhythm didn't work. No, it didn't, and he was pretty effective out there. I mean, this is the type of pitcher that we expect to see, Tehran to be. He's not had a good year. I believe his ERA was close to 6 before this one started. Has given up a lot of hits, wasn't pitching very well. Here he is against the most feared offense in Major League Baseball, and he holds them to 2 hits over 7 innings. And that, as I said before with Roark, that strike-to-ball ratio is kind of misleading, but in Tehran's case, hi, Al, in Tehran's case, that was exactly what you want to see from a pitcher who's dominating. And so tomorrow, as they start this very important now 4-game series against the Mets, it's Gio Gonzalez against Robert Gsellman on a game that they kind of have to win. I mean, hard to believe as they keep. They went 2-5 on this homestand. Just look pathetic. And again, let's go back to the play at first base where Lobaton threw down and didn't tell anyone he was going to do it. And so Ryan Zimmerman was paying no attention. That moves the runners along. Again, it's fundamental baseball 101 that this team is not doing well with. And that, if they're going to make a change in the middle of the season with management, that would be the reason right there. It's not the bullpen, although the bullpen I don't think has been managed all that well. It's the fact that these little, tiny, fundamental things aren't being done. You can't DFA Lobaton right now because Pedro Severino's on the DL. It's just frustrating. Yes, every team goes through these little times where things go bad. But the Nats have had 2 4-game losing streaks in the last month and just looked absolutely atrocious today. Absolutely atrocious. There was really, outside of Trey Turner, who was healthy, and Zim, the offense is still the offense. The absolutely atrocious and managing too. I mean, Dusty is starting not to cover himself in glory. I would be stunned if they made a in-season change. I would be absolutely stunned that this family that we never really hear from, you never hear from the Lerners, would clean house now. But something's they've got to shake it up. Especially, let's just suppose for a second that Scott Boras says, my client Mr. Harper will might stay if you change some things around. Chris asks, whose fault is it they lack the fundamentals? That's on the coaching staff, Chris. That's on Baker. That's you pull them out early. You take grounders. You practice bunting. This is all the stuff that you should be doing in West Palm Beach. And when you can't do the basics now, you got to drill that stuff into them. Or else, if they do make the playoffs, and there's still a 99.98% chance that they do that, they're going to get steamrolled. You have to do the fundamentals. And so, I put that on the coaches, all of them. Right from you can't throw a first pitch strike out of the bullpen to not being able to move runners along to just some absolutely atrocious plays in the field. Just such a lack of awareness. Al, Red Sox fan, asked, do I feel Dusty Baker teams seem to be all be that way with fundamentals? I really can't give that an honest answer, Al, because as with you, I've been an American League guy for 1,000 years. This is really my first full National League season, and so I don't know Dusty Baker well enough to know whether that's the case. Maybe one of you others can pitch in on that. In the month I spent with this team last year doing this, I thought they were a good, solid fundamental team. When they lost, they didn't necessarily beat themselves. I mean, today they got pounded. But this team goes out of their way to beat themselves, and it's not just with the lack of a closer either. Al says, I feel your frustration. The Red Sox don't play fundamentals very well either. Fundamentals don't really make a lot of money, sad to say, but they are essential. You've got to know what's going on. I know that teams don't really care too much about strikeouts right now. But between a lack of productive outs and a lack of awareness of what's going on, they're just adding to their own problems. And the fact that Baker keeps going to the press about how unhappy he is, I don't have the right tools for the bullpen, that's just not going to sit well. It really is just not going to sit well. You have what you have, deal with it. All right, let's take a look at the scoreboard. Division games are already over. Of course, this was the big one. Atlanta 13-2 over Washington. Oakland beat Miami swept Oakland, I believe, 11-6. So Miami is trying to climb back into that one. The Red Sox do lead the Phillies 3-0 in the top of the second, as the night games have already started. Mets are down 2-0 to the Cubs early. Anthony Rizzo led off the game for Chicago for the second straight game with a home run. Baltimore and the White Sox from Guaranteed Rate Field, or the Cell, or Duke Comiskey at 8-10, and that's it for the division and the local teams. Who has impressed me more, Goodwin or Taylor? I'm going to say Taylor because I think he had the most to lose, Chris. He really came out there. He really was down to his last chance. They pulled him aside and pretty much told him, this is your last chance. And, I mean, he has played pretty much every day since he took over the job in center field and has played very well. Yes, he strikes out too much. I'm happy, though, that Goodwin plays with a big smile on his face. It's so nice to see people enjoying the game. I see that Anthony Rendon is really big at enjoying the game, and so is Trey Turner. So that's who's impressed me more, even though I like them both. I don't think they're going to need to go out and trade for another center fielder because of that, and I thought that was going to be the case when Eaton went down. Having said that, the Nats signed Alejandro De Aza to a minor league deal. He, I believe, is already with the Syracuse Chiefs and will be batting sixth tonight for them. So they have more options, but he's 33 years old. It's not like, which, also tells me that Andrew Stevenson is probably not coming up in the near future if you're going to make that sort of move. All right, let's take a look at the minor league scoreboard. All right, top of the fourth, Syracuse is being no hit. A.J. Cole is pitching for Syracuse against Pawtucket in there's a doubleheader, I believe. And it's 1-0 Pawtucket. Syracuse has not had a hit off of Bogusevic. Second inning in Akron. Double-A Harrisburg down 3-0 to Akron. Hill pitching for Harrisburg. Sever, I'm going to say, is pitching for Akron. Top of the second in Potomac and Boys Creek. That's Buies. Leads 1-0. Hagerstown and Kannapolis are in the second, are in a doubleheader. Kannapolis won the first game 4-1. Sharp with a loss. He goes to 3-4 with a 3.86 ERA. And Baguki pitching for Hagerstown in the second game of the doubleheader. And they've just started no score in the bottom of the first. Kannapolis does have a hit. And the Yankees beat the Nationals in the Dominican League game today, 7-5. No homers hit in that game. So that pretty much, okay, so tomorrow it's I'll be with you for both the live tweeting and the post-game show. Tomorrow it is Gio Gonzalez against Robert Gazelman on a series that I think that the Nats at least have to split, if not win 3 or 4. Yes, I see the cat behind me. Let's see. Chris Lacey asks, if the price is right, would you go after Anthony Zworak and David Robertson from the White Sox? Apparently the Lerners turned down a trade for Robinson this offseason, according to Barry Zvergla of the Washington Post. It's in his piece today. No, I would not. You have a good closer with Glover. I don't think if he's healthy, you need a closer. You need bullpen pieces, but you don't need a closer, as far as I can tell right now. Talk to me in about 2 weeks, and we'll see what they're gonna do. And I'm not real sold on Herrera either. And because as each of these games kind of goes the opposite way for the Nationals, the price is going to be is going to be the same. It's going to get higher and higher. You're going to pay too much of a premium to fix a problem when you have other problems to fix. And yes, Al, my co-host is on the. Oh, see, I'm looking at myself on delay. So that's my pretty little M. All right. Yes, Seth Ross joins us. Yes. Hey, I'm tired. Okay, this crap, or I'm tired of this crap. Yeah, me too. And I leaned the wrong way, so you couldn't see her. What Judo Joker says, what will it take to get these guys back on track? You kind of have to wonder at this point if there are any front office changes coming. I'm not sure that Rizzo comes back after this year, but at some point, especially if Dusty keeps talking about the pulling a Bill Parcells and saying, if I can't make a good meal if you don't let me shop for the grocery type deal, they're going to make a change. What happened to the offense today? Tehran just went out and pitched a good game. They gave too many people the day off and figured it was a game they didn't need to win, and Tanner Roark gave them absolutely nothing. And so when you got down early, this game was over early. It didn't even need to be 7-2 in the fifth. You just had the sense right from the get-go that this was over. Whoever gets Matt Adams from the Braves is going to have one heck of a ball player, don't you think? He just hammered the Nationals pitching this series, and they really don't have a place for him once Freddie Freeman comes back. So, all right. Any other comments, questions from the peanut gallery here? So no, this is a big series coming up for the Nationals against the Mets, because the Mets have not quite righted the ship. They've won 4 straight when the Nats lost 4 straight. So it's not quite a 1-week lead, but we're working on it. And if the Mets could if the Mets could pick up a game or two this weekend, doubt starts creeping in your minds. Could they actually blow a 12-game lead? Could we use Matt Adams as a bench player? No, there really is no place for him. You have Adam Lind, who's done an exceptional job, and that's what Chris Lishy just said in the chat. Has done an exceptional job. He can play first, and he played left today. And he did fine in the left. So no, there really isn't a place for Matt Adams, because we already have 2 quality first basemen, and Matt Adams, except for the 6 games the Cardinals plunked him into left field, has only played first in his major league career. So it would not be, and besides, it would cost people to get him. They're not going to release him. He's under control for several more years. The Braves know that they could probably get a pretty good package for him if they wanted when Freeman returns, because Freeman will be back before the trade deadline. And so no, it's not. I don't think that would be a smart move at all. If you're looking from someone, the Braves, that the Nats might inquire on, I would think it would be Jim Johnson, who is under team control next year for $5 million. So you're essentially talking $7.5 million. Seth says, I feel like something will happen and we'll figure it out and we'll all be good. I just see it happening. I think the offense is too good to sputter too long. But if we go into, even if they, let's say, make a trade for somebody like a Ryan Madsen, as Chris says, but again, how much are you going to give up to get someone like that? It was suggested by one of the national beat writers today during the game that the Nationals have no leverage and there is no top flight guy out there. And honestly, when Glover is on, he's just as good as any of the names that you're suggesting. He pitched the one bad game in Oakland when he rested too long between innings, and he pitched when he was hurt, which he should never have done. never should have done. Anyway, back to the offense. Yeah, I mean, they can score 7, 8, 9 a game. I mean, goodness gracious, they lost a game this week when they scored 10. But can they get anyone out? It's not just one trade. It's not just one missing piece. July is about getting that missing piece. They have starting pitching depth concerns too. I mean, Joe Ross will throw well one day and he'll go bad the next two. It's not someone you'd use in a playoff spot, but if someone gets hurt, then Ross is in a position where he has to pitch some meaningful games. Seth says, honestly, they should fire Mike Rizzo. I think they won't extend Rizzo. If they're gonna be upset enough to make a move, and this is just my opinion, I think it's Baker in the middle of the season. If he's starting to lose the clubhouse, if they're going to start to bicker behind people's backs, it was already in that Svergla article. Players have already started to complain about how many runs do we have to score to support the bullpen. I mean, Dusty has to step in now, or it's going to be his job. Judo says, I don't think the closer role is an issue. Add a middle reliever. You think I would be able to know how to read out loud at this point, Ron? Pat Neshek may be an option because the Phillies don't need him. Neshek would be a very good option, but then again, it's a interdivision trade, and I'm not sure how many of those are going to happen. Neshek would be great. I was very encouraged with what I saw from Blanton today, to be completely honest. He faced two batters and struck them both out easily, which tells me that he probably pitched before he went on the disabled list with injuries, which is never good. I've written about this a couple times. There are no easy fixes for this team. Chris says they don't have the assets to fix the issues, and I think you're right. Do you try to go through and find those missing pieces and mortgage your future? Or do you just kind of accept that, look, we're going to win 90, 95 games with the team that we have? There are no really super teams in the National League this year. Everyone is going to have a tired bullpen come October, and we know that we can score runs in bushels. And if Glover's healthy, you have a closer. But beyond that, I just don't know. I don't know. It would be exceedingly rare if Al is still with us. The Red Sox fired John McNamara in the middle of a successful season in '88, and then they caught fire with the manager Joe Morgan, not the ex-player and ESPN snooze artist Joe Morgan. They won like 24 straight at home and won that division. It may be the player were they in first in '88, Al, when they fired McNamara? We may be down to as simple as needing just a change of voices in the clubhouse. Morgan Magic, yeah, that's what I thought. Would I work on fixing the rotation or the bullpen? Well, I think the highest priority piece is the bullpen. You have to have someone there that can help bridge games because to get to Glover, because you're kind of overusing Matt Alvarez. At some point, he's going to turn into a literal pumpkin. You just can't throw him out there as a closer. I mean, you're getting great outings from Ali Perez, for goodness sakes. I mean, the entire bullpen doesn't suck, but enough of it does that you have legitimate reasons to be concerned. Judo says, I think there is a bit of hysteria because of the possible Harper countdown to a free agency clock, and I would agree with that. And I think, but that started with the Nationals back in December when they said, we feel that this is our window and we have to win now, which is why they went after Andrew McCutchen, and then they thought they had Chris Sale. Judo Joker says, if we don't win the World Series before Harper leaves, there's still a ton of talent on this team, and I would agree. I don't think that window closes next year with Bryce Harper gone. I think they're a very capable team, but you're going to have to sign some people like Daniel Murphy, and you really got to get Anthony Rendon under a long-term deal. Okay. And as Seth Ross says, Nationals did sign Alejandro Diaz to a minor league deal. Yes, they did win the division 88. The Red Sox with under 90 wins. I think it was 88. That was my senior year in high school. Can't tell you what I had for breakfast, but I remember that season very well. Would I get a closer for insurance? No, I would not. You know, I would get bullpen depth. You can't afford it right now to go get a closer. You can afford to get someone like a Brad Hand out of San Diego who could possibly close for you. I mean, if you got to go by committee, you got to go by committee. But yeah, I'm not emptying out the farm for Colomé or Robertson. They're just not worth it to me. But that's just me. I mean, you folks may feel different about that. I just don't see why you do that, because there's still no guarantee right now you can get a game to a closer. I mean, what do you do? I mean, what would do to Glover's psyche if he yanked him? He's had one, but he really has only had one bad outing, and he pitched hurt. But wasn't that also the game they lost on a? I mean, like, the move I would make would be to DFA Lobaton the second that Severino comes back off the DL. We should never have let Melanson leave. I would agree with that, but there was too much deferred money and option years and all that. I mean, if you went and got Melanson from San Francisco now, he has an opt-out at the end of next year. And so, yeah. So they offered more money to Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers. I talked about this in the last game I did. But Jansen wanted the 5th year, and he wanted to stay in Los Angeles. Al Red Sox fan says, 89 wins. We were close, Ron, to beat the Tigers by 1 game. One of my favorite Red Sox seasons. Love Joe Morgan. Yep, I'll pull Joe. No, Chris, absolutely not. Brewers have DFA'd Neftali Feliz. Is he worth considering? If a first-place team DFA's a pitcher, he's not worth picking up. I thought about that question crossed my mind for about 5 seconds. When I saw that go across the Twitter this afternoon, but actually we were going to, Seth, that's not true. We actually were going to meet Holland's demands for the vesting option, and ownership nixed it. According to Splurgo, that's in the article today in the Post. I don't know what the answer is. They could probably look at Feliz. I'd have to look at his numbers first, but that's how he got involved in Joe Nathan, just taking too many flyers. It worked with Albers, but Feliz is not going to want a major league minimum deal. He's going to want some money. And if you're DFA'd from a team that's in first place, that tells you just how effective they are. All right, we'll have a bunch of stuff tomorrow. We'll have a preview. Ricky will have the 5 to watch in the Mets Nat series. I will have a couple pieces. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I'll have 2 pieces for you tomorrow, and I will be with you for both the live tweeting and the post-game show tomorrow night. Game is at 7 o'clock tomorrow on Masson, of course. Why did they turn that down? I have no idea. It was a vesting option. If you got hurt, you don't have to pay for year 2. I mean, that was such an easy decision. Thanks, Al. You too. We'll see you soon. That was an easy decision. You know, you knew the second when Wieters signed for 2 years that he was opting out after the first year. If he does, a vesting option is a no lose. If he does well, if he does this year, then you're set for next year. All right. So that's the show for you tonight. Thanks for all of your comments. I really do enjoy these. And I'll be with you tomorrow and Sunday. And Ricky will be with you Friday and Saturday. And so on behalf of Chris Lacey, Ricky Keeler, and Drew Douglas, and the staff of District on Deck, I'm Ron Chuckett. I will talk to you tomorrow night.